Marketing Your Private Practice is a podcast where you'll learn easy to implement tips and strategies to grow your business without spending all day online. I'm your host, Kathy Colaiacovo, and I teach practitioners the Thrive marketing method to create simple and streamlined plans by focusing on long-term strategies, not just social media. Discover ways to spend less time on your marketing, attract more clients, and build the financial freedom that comes with a thriving practice. One where you have time left in your day for the people and things that matter to you. Hey, private practice heroes. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Colaiacovo, and today I'm starting something new with the podcast. I'm going to be having a specific how-to type of episode every month. So I'll be taking a marketing tool or a tactic and walking you through how to use it, how to do it. The goal is to bring you a little more marketing clarity and a lot more action in one of the episodes that I do every month. Today, we're starting with how to track the data and the numbers that can help you grow your practice using the client consult tracker that I introduced in last week's episode, which was number 179. For those who may not have listened to it, here's a little background on that tracker and what you should know before we get into it. Tracking your consult call data is one of the most direct ways to get more clients and guide your marketing strategy. Not because the tracking itself books clients, but because the data shows you exactly where to focus your marketing and where you've been wasting time. It also shows you what's working, and this is critical. And when your marketing activities, both online and offline, focus on where it helps more people find you and book consults with you or book sessions with you, then you see yourself finally stop wasting time on marketing that isn't working because you're putting all your energy where it's actually bringing people in. And that's how you get more clients. And that's the whole point of this short series I'm doing on using a tracker like this. The Client Consult Tracker is a free template. It's something I created after years of working with clients and always wanting to know this information in the calls that I have with them and the strategy sessions. It's in a spreadsheet format. There's no complicated software or fancy CRM. It's very simple to use, and it's one place where you can record your specific data points and numbers after every consult call that you have. Now, I did talk about it in the previous episode, so if you want to understand more about how it works and why you should use that, then definitely go back and listen to episode 179. But what I want to do today is help you put it into use and understand how to use the tracker and gather that data in a way that you'll be able to read and see the messages that those numbers, that data and the trends and the patterns that you'll be able to see from it all so that it will help guide you with your marketing and even your business decisions. That's what we're going to do today is walk through those 12 items that you should be recording in your tracker. You can either follow along if you've already got a copy of the tracker or go back to marketingyourprivatepractice.com/180. I've got a link to the show notes for this episode and in the previous one where you can download the tracker. It's either an Excel file or a Google Sheet version that you can use. So whatever one you prefer to use, open that up and then you can follow along either right now or come back to this after you've grabbed your copy of the tracker. I'm going to walk you through all of these 12 numbers so that you know exactly how to record this information, give you a little insight into how it helps as well and what these numbers and data points can tell you about your business and your clients, because it really does give you a ton of information. It's all about having the information that will help you grow. So if you're all ready, we're going to dive into it and start off with the first thing that you're going to put into this tracker, of course, is the date of contact. So you want to know when the person first reached out. And this lets you see, because you're putting it all in there by date information, how many consults you're getting every month and whether that number is growing over time. It can also show you things like seasonal trends. And sometimes these trends surprise you. People sometimes think that they have slumps when they really don't. So don't skip putting any of this information in here. Your starting point is always going to be the date of contact. And then the second, third, and fourth items that you want to track, and this could be optional for some people depending on where you keep this and what your privacy and compliance laws are that you have to follow, but you do want to have at least something to identify the name. And I like to keep the email and phone number of each person in here. Again, you could use just the first name if you don't want to have it all in there, but I like having it all there so that if you are doing any of the follow-up that I'm going to talk to you about with it, that you've got everything you need and you don't have to go hunting in your inbox or in your electronic health record to find the information you might need to reach out by phone or email. Just keeps you organized, and then nothing really falls through the cracks because you've got everything where you need it to do that follow-up. Number 5 is the contact method. This is how they reached out to you. So in the tracker, there's some fields that you can fill out, some basic ones. Things like, did they book through your online calendar? Did they fill out a contact form on your website? Did they email you directly? Did they phone you? Whatever ways that people can contact you or do contact you, you want to fill that out. This tells you where they were online before they found you and reached out. And that information can tell you what parts of your online presence are actually doing their job. It's information like this that is really useful in helping you understand where you want to focus your marketing. Number 6 is the referral source. And this is one of the most important points in the entire tracker. Where did this person come from? In the template that I have for you, there is a drop down. It has things like Google search, colleague referral, insurance panel, online directory, social media, past client, family, friends. There's lots in there, and you can customize that column for however people get referred to you. This is a data point that really starts answering the question every practitioner needs to know. Where are my clients actually coming from? And this is one of the ones that most people, if they're thinking, oh, mostly I get people from this place or that place. When you start looking at the actual numbers, the real data of where they came from, that's when I find people are seeing the reality of where people are really coming from. And it's often not where they thought. So this is something you want to make sure that you know. How did they find you? Now, sometimes it's challenging. For me as a marketing person, it's often very easy for me to say, oh, I'd love to know what kind of words or phrases you put in Google. For a dietitian or a therapist, that kind of might, raise a little hairs on your potential client. So be careful how you ask for it. If you think you can naturally find out, it's great to know, because if they say, I Googled dietitian near me, and then that gives you more information as well. So if you can figure out what they say, record that in there as well, because just because they said a Google search doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot to you if you can't get some of the context. It's a big starting point, 100%. But if you can narrow it down a little more with folks by asking just a simple question, try to do that as well. And that's the thing, assuming where people are coming from, that is typically the difference that can be costing you clients. Because if you discover by tracking the data that people are really coming from one place, but you've been focusing all your time elsewhere, that's where you see that, if you made that change, you could start seeing more bookings happening. So number 7 is the reference point, basically, for the referral source, which is your referral name or place. So this one just takes it a little bit deeper from the category of what kind of referral was it. And if someone gives you a name, or it's a specific treatment center or a clinic or a doctor's office, you want to make sure that you write that in there. This may be something, if you have it on your form or if they fill it out, that's great. But if someone were to say, oh, my doctor referred me, ideally you want to try to ask for the doctor's name. Now, in some cases, it's easy because you may do a coordination of treatment, which is fine. But if not, at a minimum, you really want to try to get their names, because you should be doing some follow-up with them, thanking them for the referral and things like that. This is where you can really get information on what referral relationships you have are worth your time and which ones you've been nurturing that may be sending more people your way than you realized, or not sending any of them there. So knowing this information will help you invest your relationship building time and put time into that where it's actually bringing in clients. Sometimes you may even just discover that, oh, so-and-so keeps referring this type of person to me, but that's not kind of the service that I offer. So then sometimes it means you just could have a conversation to explain that. And it's often a really good doorway into building more on that relationship with that referral person. So number 7 is find out where the referral came from, either getting a name or a place. The number 8 is what I call why they reached out. And this is really where you're recording the words that they say. Now, this is one of my favorite data points in the entire tracker. And yes, the words they say is exactly what I name it on purpose. When someone fills out your intake form or talks to you on a call, they are almost always telling you in their own words what they were searching for and what problem brought them to you. That language is gold for your marketing. It belongs in your website copy, in your blog posts, in your social media content. It really is the most valuable marketing research you have access to. And it's almost always sitting there right in front of you on every single consult call that you have, but you may not be recording it. So you can put these into this section here in the tracker. And if you do want to learn a little bit more about this entire words they say, which is something I teach people about, I tell people to keep a words they say document if you're not tracking it like this. I have an entire episode on this, number 66, and that's the one you would want to listen to if you want to fill in some more details on using the words they say as part of your marketing strategy. And I'll put a link to that in the show notes, so you don't have to remember that right here. I'll have a spot where you can just click it and go listen to that episode too. Number 9 is team members. Now, you may not have a team, but if you do, this is something you should track as well. You want to record who spoke to the person if it wasn't you, but you also want to record the name of the team member who actually ends up working with the client. This is really useful information when you start looking at how different team members are converting their own consults into clients, but also for tracking how many consults are going to each different team member. So this is something that can often help you understand, do you need more marketing for a certain type of service if some of your team members have a specialty, different things like that. It can also be something that helps you understand what types of services people are looking for more than others if your different team members have different specialties as well. You can tell by looking at the tracking what kind of people are coming to you more often because you can see that trend in there. You see what's going on. So again, this is just more information that can tell you about your business and where people are coming from, what kind of things they're looking for, and what you need to do to help make that work for you. And this kind of leads into number 10, which is the type of service. I've kind of explained part of that in talking about the team members, but you do want to know what they're asking about, what service or specialty or program they're looking for, what kind of service they're looking for, because this is absolutely what tells you whether or not how you're doing your marketing and the messages you have out there are matching what kind of services people are looking for. So you could be spending all of your marketing time and content on one type of service. And then if most of the people are coming to you for something else, if you can offer that, that's a signal. And this data point is what captures it. And this is something where it can often tell you you need to make a shift in your services or what you're doing. This is actually something that I used to make a decision about my own services in the last 6 months to a year. I think I noticed a trend, and I'll probably be sharing that in an upcoming episode. But there are some things about my services and my programs that I'm going to be changing because I saw this trend happening from the data that I was collecting on the consult calls that I'm having. So that's number 10 type of service. Number 11 is essentially, did you make a sale or not? Did they sign up? Yes or no? And then there's a section as well, why or why not? These two data points really work together. So I'm going to walk through them as one. You want to know if consults become a client. Because if you record yes or no, it doesn't really matter because not every consult ends up in a sale, but it could later on. But knowing how many people that do a consult with you become a client helps you determine your consult to client conversion rate. And that is one of the most important numbers you need to know in your practice or your business. Because if you don't know what percentage of your consults are converting into paying clients, you don't have any idea if your consult process is even working. Now, to figure this out, if you need a little math help here, you really just get this number by dividing the number of clients, people that basically sign up to work with you, into the number of consults. If you had 6 people who became clients from 10 consults. 6 divided by 10 is 60%, which is your conversion rate of 60%. I mentioned in the previous episode that I had a client who was thinking about dropping her free discovery calls because she felt like there were a lot of effort. She'd had a couple clients that had just booked directly, and it was so much more easier. But when we looked at the actual data, she had a 90% conversion rate. 9 out of 10 people who got on the phone with her signed on as a client. So she kept those calls because if she had dropped them, if she'd stopped offering them, that meant she probably would have lost her most effective tool for getting clients. And if someone isn't ready to sign up and just pay and work with you directly and you offer the free consult, then that would be a way in her case. If she didn't offer that free consult, she would be reducing the amount of clients she had by quite a bit. Now, when you record this, you also want to record if they did not sign up, and you want to record why. So maybe it was price. Maybe they weren't ready yet. Maybe they weren't a fit for the services that you do. Maybe they went with someone else who takes their insurance because you didn't take the insurance that they offered. Whatever the reasons are, you try to get an understanding. Sometimes you won't. Sometimes people who have a consult will ghost you and they simply won't give you a reason why, or it may not be the true reason. But having some sort of record of it lets you know and be able to look at it. If every person is saying price is too much, that's a sign that something might need to change. Okay? If everybody is coming to you for diabetes and weight management, and that's not something you offer, and you keep putting not a fit for service, wanted diabetes, there's another hint as well. What is going on in your marketing and what's bringing people to you? That could be a referral person keeps sending them to you, anything like that. And so that's how all these different pieces work together. So the last data point that you want to track in here is how long are people staying with you? So trying to get an idea of how many appointments they make with you, their estimated overall revenue that they might make with you, and follow-up sections. This section kind of ties, I've said one data point, but it's really a few. You want to track how long clients are staying with you and the revenue they bring in alongside where they come from. Because when you do this, you stop just counting consults and you start understanding what marketing activities are bringing in your best clients. And you understand more about your true ideal client, which are the ones that stay. They're the ones that refer other people and the ones that help make your practice or your business sustainable in the long run. So you might have a local therapist who's referring people to you all the time. They might be sending fewer contacts that you get from your health profs listing, say, for instance. But if every single one of the referrals that therapist sends to you stays 6 months or more, and the ones that come into you from the health profs directory are just one-off sessions, that therapist, even though you might get fewer referrals, is far more valuable to your practice and the growth of it than the source of the other referrals. But you simply cannot see that kind of information, that overall big picture view, without tracking some of these numbers. And as I talked about in episode 179, you definitely cannot see this just by looking at client files in your electronic health record or your booking system or even your email marketing system or your inbox. That's why it's so critical to take a few minutes and record this information in this tracking sheet to get that one-page view of what is really going on from real live numbers. If you cannot see all of that information in one place and you can't tally up the averages or the totals because you have to look in 5 million different little places to get some of the info, you're just not going to have that big picture view. And this is why it's critical to take a minute or two and record this information in the tracker. When you do this, it makes such a big difference because if you cannot see all of that information in one place and you can't tally up the averages or the totals, you have no idea what the true trends and patterns and messages are. You're going blind when it comes to your marketing and the activities that you're doing to grow your business. And in this section here is the follow-up data points. I've got a couple columns in there like follow-up number 1, follow-up number 2, results, things like that. Don't overlook these because not everyone is ready to sign on right away. Tracking your follow-ups keeps these contact points in your mind and your to-do list so that you remember to check on them at some point. Some of those not yet people, they do actually come back. And when they do, you want to know where you left off. Having this information in there is going to help you do that as well. And that's it. Those are the 12 different data points and numbers, information that I highly recommend you track from every consult and every client you're working with. Gathering this information really does give you that option to review it and see the story it is telling you, see the messages all of this data is saying. Real data. It's not guesses. It's not what you think is happening. It's real life numbers. And that makes a huge difference in what you do with your marketing and even your business. The trick with this is the final part of it all is trying to make this a habit that actually sticks. Because knowing what to track is one part of it, but doing it consistently is where most practice owners fall down. And inconsistent data is not useful data. A tracker only works if you use it and do it with every call. And I'll do it later is where data goes to die, is what I like to say. My recommendation is that you make updating this tracker part of your post-consult call or client call routine, just like charting your notes if you're therapists or dietitians. Right after the call is when you want to do this, not tomorrow, not at the end of the week. Immediately after the call, open the tracker and fill in that information. It might take 1, 2, 3 minutes, maybe 5 if you're really adding a lot of notes. But ideally, you want to do this while the call is fresh, especially for data point 8, which is the words they say. That one can really fade fast if you don't capture it immediately. So it is one that I highly recommend you ensure you do right after the calls. Now, if doing it right then doesn't work, block some time at the end of every week to do it. But I promise you, you'll be way more consistent if you make it part of your post-call routine. And the other thing I want to make sure you do is before you start using it, customize it. So that tracker, as I mentioned, has some drop-down menus for the contact method, the referral source, the type of service, things like that, team member names. You'll want to update those drop-downs with your specific referral sources and your specific services and the people and how they typically reach out to you, because not everybody might have what I filled into the template. But the more that tracker is set up so that it is all of the stuff that you actually do with your own practice or your business, that makes it a lot easier to keep using it consistently as well. And the biggest thing I tell people is before you do anything with it, save a blank copy of it as a backup so that you've got a copy that you might need to use at some point in the future. It's 10 seconds to do it, so just do it. You'll thank yourself later, I promise. Here's what I want you to do after listening into today's episode. I want you to go to the show notes page, marketingyourprivatepractice.com/180, or wherever you're listening in, there will be a link to that underneath. And download that free client consult tracker and customize it for your practice and then start using it after your very next consult call. Promise me. Download it, set it up, use it. That's all you have to do. The data will start building from your very next call, and that data is what is going to help you get more clients by showing you exactly where to focus your marketing. And one thing that I want to say, because I know this was a lot of lessons, but I believe you're all ready to do this kind of tracking here. And you know what this can tell you and how to track it. But if you do have any other tips on making this a habit, definitely send me a message and share your tips. I'll share that with everybody in my community as well, because I'm always looking for ways to make sure that using something like this is as effective as possible for everybody. And in the next episode, I'm going to walk you through some of what that data can be telling you and how you can adjust or change some of your marketing and your setup of your business even. And that's it for today, folks. This is Kathy Colaiacovo signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, to thrive in practice or business means making decisions based on real data, not memory, not guesses. 12 simple data points tracked consistently, and your marketing will get a whole lot clearer and better yet, way more effective. I'll see you next time. You can find all of our show notes and resources mentioned at marketingyourprivatepractice.com. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at pepperitmarketing and say hi. I'd love to hear any feedback you have, and make sure to rate and review the podcast and hit subscribe on your favorite player so you don't miss any future episodes.